Oh, Kumei's Jaguar. That's not Kume, though, right?
No, that's not him.
Kume has those weird little, very short little mustache things off the side
He
of his
also looks
mouth.
way younger than him.
Unless that's the secret of Kume. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, this is Lessons, and we are back with another episode of Giant Robo. The penultimate episode, it would seem. Yeah. So we come back as we normally do with notes, comments, and a board. So let's go ahead and hit up that board first thing. Alright, well, we get the board changelog as we normally do, where I marked Yoshi as dead. Sorry, Yushi. I marked Yushi as dead. I added Professor Kasuma, tied him to his son and Morisume. I connected Enshaku to Tetsuya with a red line, and then I marked Tetsuya as dead. And then, of course, I added a bunch of the unnamed characters that were in that episode that were a member of the group.
We're going to have to see in this episode whether or not by next episode you're going to mark Lord Alberto as dead as well.
Well, it's not been seen yet.
Yeah, we hear the gunshot. Also, I think that Franco Vogler is very much dead.
I think you said that last time.
Like, he put him in a pyre and everything.
I don't know that he is dead, actually. Only because you're suggesting it, I'm now thinking of ways that he could still be alive. Again, what if he is the... Sorry, I want to say giant robot. What if he is the ball?
Well, there's a mention of... I have a note about Big Fire. No, I know. Literally, he closed himself in.
Well, I made notes about Big Fire last time where they indicated that Big Fire was a person and not just the name of the group. Well, yeah, I was indicating that last time because they talked about that last... Well, obviously I talked about it last time because that means the episode before last episode they had talked about it. But no, I'm talking about the element that I think they talked about before, that the ball had some sort of consciousness of its own.
Yeah.
Which I've got sort of a note about this time around, but not specifically for this. I don't know. The element that when they showed the flashback how Vogler had changed at the very end, you know, kind of because he's depressed about how things had gone. Yeah. Also kind of seems to me maybe his mind was gone.
Yeah.
And not for nothing. We don't know how exactly he created the null Shizuma drives. So, I don't know. I'm just not writing it off. I'm not saying that's why I haven't marked him as dead on the board. I just didn't think about it. I'm just saying the possibility exists that he's not dead.
I'm leaning on the fact that he very much is dead.
Yeah, you're leaning on what the show has shown you.
And that it was Genya all along.
That's not getting a music video.
I meant Genya, not Engine.
That's not the joke.
Oh.
The joke is WandaVision. Whatever her name was, the neighbor lady who turns out to be an evil witch, and she has a little music video indicating that she's been behind everything that's been happening. I killed the dog. I did the da. It's pretty catchy, actually.
I didn't watch that series. I don't watch a lot of things. I should watch Loki second season, which I haven't.
Yeah, you should. It's good. Beyond that one character who turned from a good character into a bad character, by which I don't mean their alignment. I mean that they were very... What's the word I'm looking here? They went from very, I want to see more of them, I want to see how this interaction goes, to, God, they're so fucking annoying now.
Anyway, we have notes. Episode 5. Forgot the title of the episode, so let's just go on straight into notes. Did Kenji Murasame run all the way from the ruins of Paris to the Himalayas?
I mean, he has just appeared in a lot of places, so presumably he's been going from place to place. Like, I don't remember him being in Shanghai. So I don't know if he was in Shanghai to then have run to the Himalayas. Because it seemed like everybody was at Shanghai, but this guy's been doing his own stuff.
Yeah.
I think the last time we saw him, he was in the Sphere, in fact. Remember when he was dressed up as one of the Q guys? You know,
but that was over Paris still. Yeah.
And well, for one thing, if he was still in the Sphere, he would be in Shanghai with everybody else. Because the Sphere was in Shanghai.
I don't think that happened in Shanghai, though.
Yeah, it was. That's where they did the net thing.
No. But the fact that he was in the Sphere wasn't in Shanghai.
No. I'm not saying... You're not equating the two things I'm putting together here, Lessons. I'm saying that if he was in the Sphere, back when you said he was in Paris, I was like, sure, fine. But we never saw him get out of the Sphere. So presumably...
He got chased out.
No, we saw him get chased around. We never saw him get out of the sphere. So I'm just saying that if he never got out of the sphere, he could still have been in Shanghai. In which case, he just ran from Shanghai to the Himalayas, which is far less of a run.
It's still practically crossing all of China from the coast all the way to, well, beyond China into, well, depending on where.
Well,
exactly
lessons.
Himalayas
We know
are.
there's nothing beyond China, he said, sucking up to his future overlords. Look, after World War III is done, we're going to need to learn some extra languages.
Yeah.
Most surprising of all, Danish. So just a note for the Patreon viewers, I only recently realized that I forgot to do the commentary track for last episode. So if you are hearing this and wondering where last episode's commentary track went, just know that I realized my error and will be getting to it as time allows.
Okay. That was your first note.
Yeah. It was my first thought about the patrons who may have felt that they missed something.
And we get backstory galore, from what happened to Daisaku's father to Genya's version of what happened in Bashtarta, then confirmed by Professor Go.
Yeah, I didn't have any reason to doubt Genya's version of events.
I mean, it's just a competing version of events.
It's not actually. It's not competing, as you already went over the fact that Go says it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's I'm saying that it's not competing with anything.
Well, it is, because it's competing with Shizuma's version of events.
Yeah, but as we find out, he's an asshole.
Yeah.
And he apologizes all throughout episode, 2? Was it 2 or 3?
2.
Yeah, it's all my fault. This is my fault. I'm sorry. To his death. Ginri's outfit has to be designed for a very specific audience. No matter what, she's in the shortest skirt possible. Freezing outside? Thank God, a winter jacket that ends at the upper thighs. And don't get me started on where the hell that gun was placed.
And also red and white, as if she were like a little Santa's helper as well.
And that's what they packed in the, aircraft?
Yeah.
Dirigible.
Okay, so Vogler didn't start the experiment, but then he embraced it. So he is guilty what happened in Bashtarter. And he did, according to Genya, create the anti-Shizuma drives to take revenge on him. On him by being Shizuma. And the world.
I would say wrong. Well, definitely wrong in the first half. I guess impressions-wise, you're wrong in the second half. He's not guilty for having caused the Bashtaral incident. Everyone else was running, so conceivably, you couldn't have stopped it. He said, I want to bear witness. I mean, literally, he pulls a bunch of the things out, and it's still going, so couldn't have stopped it. Even Shizuma, who fucking started the thing, said, we gotta get out of here. You can't stop it. So he's not responsible for Bashtaral. All the other scientists are, because, he's the one who tried to stop them from doing it in the first place. We don't know what the point of making the null Shizuma drives were. We know what Genya presumed that they were for, but Vogler himself never says. The dude has lost it by that point. He just made the things and passed them on to Genya.
He said something about revenge, so,
Again, the dude lost it. And at that point, I think it's the person who does, if I hand you a gun and say revenge, you're still the one who has to pull the trigger.
True.
So it's on you. Just because this dude wanted revenge, he fucking died, according to you. So,
yeah.
At that point, it's Genya's thing. So again, I don't think Vogler is guilty of anything.
Yeah, I disagree.
I mean, I know you do, but I think I've pretty well put the pin in him not being guilty for Bashtaral. The other half, I could argue, but that's the point. As I said, it's impression. My argument before about the usefulness of Ginri's teleportation power, I feel, is exemplified by the flashback to the crash. Even if she wanted to use it, it takes so long to power up that it has a no in-the-moment functionality. Really, it's like Goku's instant transmission. Even he can't use it in the middle of a fight. Her using it back in Bashtaral has to be the sole exception to the rule. Otherwise, she would have saved Tetsugyo and Daisaku from the crash. Would have vanished right out of there and appeared back at the HQ.
We don't know the range either, by the way.
Literally we do, because he says she could appear anywhere across the world if she wanted. They said that
Yeah, but it takes
2
more
episodes
energy.
ago or
So.
an episode ago.
Yeah, but it says also takes a lot of energy out of her, so could kill her.
Well,
So.
they don't say it'll kill her. It just says it takes a lot out of her. Big sacrifice. And considering she used it already and it's been fine, I'm just saying, if she coulda, she woulda, but she didn't, so she couldn't.
And here's something you disagree with, so there's my next note. And I was right that Vogler was dead, and it was Genya all along.
I mean, again, half disagreement. Or not even disagreement, I'm just saying it for the sake of propositioning what might be. I'm not disagreeing, it was Genya all along. That's obvious. But when you pointed out that on the board, Vogler should be marked dead, I'm just exploring the space here, that it seems like the sphere has a mind of its own sometimes. Kind of the same way that Giant Robo does. And we haven't yet figured out why Giant Robo has consciousness, so... Well, I was wrong about Giant Robo being Daisuku's dad. By the way, Daisuku's English actor, absolutely kills it in the dub. Daddy Come Back was farking. Was fucking heart-wrenching. The emotion he pulls into it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I don't think I said anything or specifically felt any way when we're watching the subtitle version of it.
Mm-hmm.
But hearing that guy do that voice, like, he puts a ton of emotion into it when he's shouting that line. And it's like, oh, I feel that.
My next note then, it's also interesting that Big Fire existed independently from Genja's machinations. Because I always thought that Big Fire started with the whole, Vogler thing and the Shizuma drive, and apparently not.
I mean, I never thought that myself, so this isn't a train ride that I'm on. The element that it seems like every one of the top 10, what are they called, of Big Fire just kind of has their own motivations and backstories. And we're just focused on Genya's backstory. I'm guessing GR2 stood for Giant Robo 2, meaning that thing may have been intelligent as Giant Robo himself, given that Cervantes was also struggling to save his giant robot from what was coming. Who's to say he wasn't as attached to it as Daisaku was his?
Yeah, possibly. But didn't survive, so oops.
Yeah, I may have a note about that.
My second to last note, and Giant Robo pulls a dataless maneuver for the win. He fires all the missiles inside the floating frog head.
I mean, it seems like that thing had hammer space in it to begin with, so... Because it seems like when it's doing the sucker in and the thing, too, and it's like, the levels of whatever that little sucking motion is seem to have been to the very back of its own head unit. So it's like, but then again, this is like super science territory. So who's to say it's not like sucking it into a teleportation field that'll like send it somewhere else?
It apparently didn't because the explosions destroyed it. So you can hear that, see the impacts of when.
Yeah, but I mean, it could have been exploding inside of it. You're arguing a point that I didn't even bring up. You're starting an argument for some reason. I was talking about when it's trying to suck her in, that she would have been sucked in and then sent somewhere, possibly. So you're jumping to the missiles to make an argument out of something I didn't even like. I'm not prepared to have an argument about.
I mean, it doesn't have. I would think it does not. It's just very big enough to have hammer space or anything like that.
But I mean, it clearly does because again, the depth for its sucking thing is to the back of its own head. So the device required to have the sucking motion isn't present within itself.
Could be on top.
You know, listen, I'm going to say this right now. I don't care. We're having an argument about what? What's the point? What you want to win? Fine, you can win. I don't care.
Okay.
Well, no, I'm not like my typical flippancy thing. It's just I don't. What's the walk away on this? Like, oh man, like is there unless there's like a manga thing which actually describes the workings of this, which could be. People love their technical manuals.
Yeah,
but I don't know that this is in that same sphere. Like, is this real robot? Is it supposed to be?
No. I mean, even Super Robot shows have their own cutaways and stuff like that. You should see some of the stuff I saw for Mazinger Z and everything else. Yeah, no, they exist.
All right. Anyway, moving on. I wonder what Genya's attachment to Daisuku was before the mine shaft scene, where Daisuku is in a daze talking about his own father at Genya. Because after that, obviously Genya is going through his own father issues and can see himself in someone else trying to live up to their father's desires. But before that, he crawls out of Giant Robo's hand to implicitly save Daisuku from tumbling down the mountain. Since his plan is basically to avenge his father on the entire world, why would he care enough to do that?
Oh, he did use him as a hostage to get.
No. Think about it. He's like, Daisuke, no! And he leaps out to save Daisuke.
Yeah.
Why? If he's planning to kill everybody. Then again, this is before the mine shaft scene where he's like, oh, he's just like me for real. It's like,
Yeah.
where is this coming from?
They didn't think of it that way, but yeah, you got a point. And my last point. Okay, so if Big Fire is a person and Vogler is dead, then who is Big Fire? And more importantly, what do they really want?
I mean, I've already given out my theories last episode when I was talking about Big Fire as a person. I don't think any of them are valid. I just think I was throwing out ideas at the idea that, again, it's a person. I think I've leaned into the idea that something extra dimensional is at play multiple times. One with the test Shizuma Drive thing that Professor Go had made. Another when we were first looking at the eyeball thing before we found out it was a robot. And then now the idea that Big Fire might just be like Dormammu. I don't fucking know. I'm just throwing shit to the wall. Something's gonna stick eventually.
But those my notes. Those were my notes. Just today, I'm like, ugh.
I don't know why Tetsuyo would think it impossible for Inshaku to have survived. The guy who teleports through shadows and phases through solid matter. I mean, unless he thinks Inshaku is someone else, I guess that he could be Cervantes before. When Genya sees him later in the ruins of Bashtarl, he's holding a fan that I think looks like what Inshaku is holding, so maybe.
Got rebuilt as a cyborg or something like that.
Well, I mean, not for nothing, but we don't see Cervantes in the present at any point in time. But we see Inshaku. I guess the difference there in those that Inshaku is supposed to. Well, no, sorry, not Inshaku. Cervantes is supposed to have been friends with. God, what the fuck is his name? I always forget. Alberto? Dad? Yeah, Alberto.
Yeah.
Cervantes is supposed to have been friends with Alberto at some point. It's said at some point. Or not friends, allied with. Whereas Inshaku is an ally to Genya. And that is, obviously. Actually, Cervantes being there at the ruins of Bashtarl when Genya's coming out could be the connecting factor there. So yeah, I mean, I'm not giving up on the idea that maybe Cervantes is Inshaku. And, not for nothing, the guy crawls out of shadows, and Cervantes being called the Phantom. The Phantasm, whatever.
Yeah, the ghost.
I think I missed it in the first watch, but since we talked about Tetsuyo's family, it's worth noting that his father was a member of Big Fire, just like Daisaku's was, except that Tetsuyo killed his father, the first man he ever killed.
Yeah. I mean, it was an emotional scene, but at the same time, how can I put this? It was so brief that it was like, oh, it was more of like, oh, I now understand where Daisuke is coming from. I'm dead.
Well, no. I mean, he was charging through gunfire.
Yeah.
Saying his whole I mean, it wasn't a brief scene at all. I mean, maybe his death was when the giant robot head crushed him, but I mean, that wasn't. That was the tail end of the scene. So it was never in doubt to me that Professor Go knew who Ginri was, and we'd already seen that he was in Bashtarl with her in previous flashbacks. But what gets me now, and something I may have just never considered before, is that he was in the room when Vogler told them not to do the experiment, and they talked it down to him like assholes, and said that they should do it anyway. And then did it. Go had to have known that the people everyone hailed as heroes were the ones that caused the majority of the human race to die, and let them be celebrated while Vogler was vilified. He even let Ginri go on thinking her father was a horrible man this entire time. As I assumed, she was just too young at the time to have understood. But why? Because no one would have believed him? That's bullshit. He was on the project too. At least the doubt he could have raised would have been something. Not like Shizuma would have been the first person in history to have stolen credit. But no, Go thinks that limitless energy was worth the sacrifice of the majority of the human population and the ruination of his mentor.
More like too little, too late, but I would have. He could have still tried to run.
Now it's too little, too late. Back when it happened, he could have said anything. Because back when it happened, that's when Shizuma goes on to create the actual Shizuma Drive. And you could have been like, yeah, but let me tell you what this Nazi fucking did. I'm using Nazi in the element that, again, most of the human race fucking died. Because, again, I have to feel like this is where you would be with me, Lessons. You're the one who says we can't let them get away with this shit. And this is killed most of the human fucking race.
That's very true. That's very good. Yeah, that was a very weak excuse.
It's hard for me not to be on Genya's side.
Well, I mean, I can't be on Genya's side because he wants to do it all over again and kill even more people or wipe out what's left of humanity. So it's like, that's
but
not
again,
the way to go.
To your own words, Lessons, we can't let them get away with this.
True
they
enough.
Must be brought to justice.
There are ways and there's ways. It's like, I don't want to get that guy to get away with it. I'm going to nuke the entire neighborhood. It's like, that's a bit too much.
Yeah, well, you got to think that the entire world has been living off of the back of your father's sacrifice, so everyone's a little culpable.
They don't get it.
Except for Daisuke, apparently, who we want to save from the mountainside. Like you said, I don't know what his relationship there is.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bit too much. That's where it crosses the line for me. A big one, actually.
Assuming that these people weren't supervillains, that they were actually trying to make limitless energy for everyone, what the fuck was the giant eyeball robot that they had made in the first place? We know that we know what Genya used for it later, but what did they plan to do with it?
I have no idea.
They make the limitless energy thing, and they go to test it, and the energy just beams up into a robot above them with a giant fucking eyeball.
Yeah.
They made that. It's not Genya's creation. That's not Vogler's creation. That's the group scientists' creation. What the fuck did they make it for?
No idea. It's pretty weird. And also, it's the key to the fact that they were that 2% because it was able to bleed off the extra energy and not explode, which is kind of the problem.
No, it did explode. It's the whole Bash Tarl incident.
Yes, but okay. The problem with the other ones was that the moment they tried to use it, they immediately broke. These ones didn't immediately break, so they had some sense of stability. They talk about the 2%.
Yeah, I mean, there's a 2% chance that this could all go wrong. That's Vogler's point. It's never indicated that the giant eyeball robot was bleeding anything off. This was their new test. There's also no indication that these things are the same as the ones that were breaking before. The ones breaking before, basically... No, the ones breaking before was the point where they were breaking down, by they, I mean the scientists, at the point of giving up. And that's why we see the cigarette trays filled and all the Java, drunk. But the idea being that has anything to do with this. That's what I'm saying. That's what the question is. What the fuck is the giant robot? Because it's never, like, they show us the equations. Like, there's literally line of 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and then they circle 0, 0, 2, 2, 2, 2. I have to assume that's a list of 100 things because that would make it 2%.
Yeah.
But there's no point at which point we see like a schematic for a giant eyeball robot, or no one says this is the bleed off for the device.
Nobody was surprised that it was there. Apparently,
again, because they would have made it. They're the ones who would have made it. That's what I'm saying. It's a creation of theirs. It's not Genya's. Genya's using it now. But why would they have made it? And also, it wouldn't have been a nullification. Like, if you think maybe that's the nullification device in case their thing goes crazy and run off to cease the explosion. No.
Yeah.
Vogler made those things after in his isolation. So that's not what it was for either. Also, if that was that case, they wouldn't have been running out of the room screaming, "We got to get out of here." They would have activated their own failsafe device.
Yeah. It certainly survived the explosion somehow.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but it's all weird. Killed the entire country, and the fallout of which, the no energy and whatnot, killed most of the planet, but robot survived. My final note. Vogler was kinda a fool in that final moment. Professor Go, get my children to safety. Professor Go has no power like that. If it weren't for Ginry's ability to teleport, they'd have both died in that explosion. The fact he calls on Go to do it suggests to me that he didn't know about his kid's ability to teleport, meaning everyone would have just died if left to him.
I mean, the other scientists survived because they went to a very deep
I'm not talking about the other scientists. They also seem to have gone to a vacuum tube that would... They got them away. He says, "Professor Go, get my kids out of here."
Oh, that's a desperate plea for survival. Take them away. I mean, do something.
Yeah, but we see how far Professor Go gets away. Far enough away to witness the explosion that he's about to be in with Ginry.
I mean, he's a father. He's like, don't let them be here. Take them away.
Okay, how
That's
about this
it. I mean,
double down of stupidity lesson, since you're so on board with defending him? Genya crawls into the thing with Vogler and survives. Literally 5 steps forward, Go and Ginri would have survived along with Genya and Vogler.
Yeah, but I don't think he knew what was going to happen, or that his son was going to jump into the place. Like, what the hell, right? Or that he would survive himself, because he did survive somehow.
I'm just saying, he told a guy with no ability to get away, hey man, get a country's worth of distance away from here. You got 5 seconds.
I don't think he knew it was going to take the entire country.
So again, you're agreeing with me then.
So
you're saying, oh, he didn't know. Yeah, I'm calling him a fool in this moment. And you're like, yeah, he told somebody to do something with no knowledge about what was going to happen. Like a fool would? Like a fool would do?
I mean, okay, you say that's just going to be a fire. You don't know the explosion is going to take.
Are you suggesting that I scream to the person next to me, hey, fire? Because that's a foolish move too.
No, yeah, well, get out of here. Don't stake around for the fire. You're going to get burned. Get my...
Oh, yeah, so I should shout fire and to warn a bunch of people that might be around me. Shouting fire in a crowded place, probably not a good idea.
They didn't say it was a crowded place. I said...
No, you were saying a bunch of people. A bunch of people. A lot of people in a space. I should shout fire is what you're saying.
Could be more than one.
You're a fool, Essence. That's a foolish thing to do.
No. In fact, if I
You've
was
already agreed with me, in fact. You said that the guy had no knowledge of what was about to happen and was shouting at people to do stuff. The person who should be shouting at people to do stuff should be the informed person or a person making their own decisions, not someone who does not know what's going to happen. Because at that point, you know what? Go is also a scientist on the project, has just as much idea about what the fuck is about to happen right now. He doesn't need to be told, and ultimately, he was wrong. Because again, if we left it to Go, everyone would have died in that explosion, or Go and not Gini. So sorry, their names are so close together sometimes I get it mixed up in my head. She would have died along with Go had she not had teleportation powers, where again, Genya, 5 steps forwards, survives. So
Emmanuel, that's his real name.
Well, his real name is what he chooses to be called, so he's Genya.
Yeah, but again, it's like,
I lean into people's ability to self-identify.
Yes, we agree on that one. If I see a bomb, and I don't know if they're going to take this room or the entire building or the entire block, I'm going to say, oh, yeah, you stay there because I don't know how far this is going to explode. Just stay there. If we fine. I'm like, fuck it, get that out of here. I don't know what's going to happen.
You shout bomb, and then people get trampled to death.
The thing is, like, get out of here.
What did Vogler do? Did he calmly tell Go, hey, maybe you should get out of here in all due haste? Or did he shout, get out of here, take my kids and get out of here?
That's what you would do.
So you're saying you spotted a bomb, and you're not gonna do what Vogler didn't do. You're going to shout, get everyone out of here, there's a bomb. You are going to cause a panic, and people are going to get killed because of that panic. And, as already evidenced by the fact that you're putting yourself exactly in Vogler's shoes, you have no fucking idea. The bomb might not go off, might not even be a bomb. I'm just saying Vogler was a fool, and ultimately, I do feel you've agreed with me in the fact that you're saying that he's making calls and he has no fucking idea. That is a foolish thing to do. That's, in fact, a stupid thing to do.
I disagree.
No, you're saying you disagree, but what you've argued agrees with me. So, in your head, you disagree with me. What you've said agrees with me. That's the difficulty you have to face.
I think you're misinterpreting what I said, but fine. Leave it for the comments then.
I'm not leaving it for the comments. I'm just saying that I'm right, and I'm going to move on anyway, because I already said that's my last note. As I said, though, we do have a comment from Kellen Winslow from the episode Twilight of the Superheroes. Another good reaction, guys. Knights Dirk gently referenced Theta. There are 2 books, you are right, and his method is very similar to the idea of synchronicity, where everything is connected. I always think of the album Synchronicity by the Police and how everything is connected in that album as well. Good video for the new year, although I'm really waiting for your reactions to Gundam 0080 and 83. From this point on, I've never seen any Giant Robo due to it taking so long to come out in the 90s. Then after that, it became quite expensive to get on disc, and that hasn't changed over the years. It really is funny to me that every time I see Ginri, I always think of Lucia from the Lunar games. Same artist, so go figure. But the art does help it stand out a bit from other shows like Getter Robo Armageddon or The Big O, which were both made by most of the team that made Giant Robo. Giant Robo does carry on an anti-nuclear message amidst the combat, with a safe energy source being put to evil use, ironically against all the cities of Japan's enemies during World War II. Make of that what you will. It's all about mankind putting too much faith in technology, an old trope to be sure, but one that's just as valid as always, especially with AI nonsense going full tilt. But the director, Imagawa, was one of the first to take part in the 1990s retro boom of anime that were made in a deliberately old-fashioned style that recalled the golden age of sci-fi, a time that reminded baby boomers of their childhood before the oil shock of the 70s. So the nuclear message was probably a given for this show. Imagawa became so involved in the development of other retro anime like Getter Robo that by the time the final episode of Giant Robo was ready to make, the voice actors had forgotten their roles of That by the time the final episode of Giant Robo was ready to make, the voice actors had already forgotten their roles and needed a refresher course. Sorry, that makes sense in retro. I know what they meant to say. It's just one of many stumbling blocks that this show had during production. Frankly, it's amazing it was finished at all. There are 3 OVAs made before the last episode that all centered around Ginri. They are more comedy and parody than anything else, and were made just to get some quick money before the show was finished. And you guys going on about podcasts and iPods was pretty funny. It's one of the things that makes both of you enjoyable to listen to. Thanks for the work both of you put into stuff this year.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I guess that is everything, unless you have any other comments about the comment.
No. I was very thoughtful and thorough. So, yeah.
All right, well, all that said, let's go ahead and hop on into the penultimate episode and see what we get.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button.
Hit that subscribe button.
Comment down below to feed that algorithm.
on top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this,
Unfiltered.
Uncensored.
And uncut.
as well as some early access stuff,
You can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
Maki Yasuto production.
And what, 3 minutes of recap?
Probably. I do. I mean, I always like this intro.
Yeah, I'm not complaining. Well, I guess I am sort of complaining because I've seen it every episode, but it's the
Yeah.
element that an episode was released every couple of years.
Yeah, you will have to recap everybody.
Well, it's the same thing as when we watched Origin, Gundam Origin, that it was an episode being released every 2 years. So I remember when I got our Nights to watch that, they're like, gotta sit through 3 minutes of recap, and I'm like, yeah, but remember, if you were watching this in time, might have been like 3 years since the last time you watched an episode. Yeah, we all remember
Hey,
when
this is new.
Frankenstein attacked. Frankenstein's monster, you pedants, attacked.
I didn't remember that one.
No, this is new.
Yeah.
Well, some of the robots have been there before, but they're
Yeah. Guess half of these guys are dead.
I was
So.
literally just going to say that.
Yeah.
Again, I just like his English voice actor more. It's one of those things where, again, I still did before. I feel like the emotionality behind what the characters are saying more in my own language.
Yeah.
But again, he's really doing some work in the English dub. I think I only said that for 2 shows. Gundam Wing is better in English, and this, I don't know, it's probably equal. I just feel it more in English.
Yeah. Also, you remember it in English as well.
Well, I remember it in English because I think in English.
No, but you originally.
Except that they are active again because the thing hasn't. Oh, this is Big Fire reporting in. That's why they're saying, tell us when the operation's going to be over.
今回の地球静止作戦普通とは思えん。
そうも貴様がごとき新参者が衝撃ターレン上位に立つは深い極まることなりき。
十条寺の言うことももっともだ。原野とか言ったな。わかず。我々の納得のいくように地球静止作戦を説明してもらいたい。
You didn't ask him to explain that before he started?
Yeah.
Well, we're assuming he killed Alberto, so...
Okay.
No, this is usually the point where he kills everybody.
I guess so.
You demand answers and they don't talk? Ironically, given he has teleportation powers, it's the moment you kill each other by accident.
Yeah.
Oh, well, never mind. It wasn't Cervantes that they saw, it was Comey. I just got two characters completely backwards.
Also, the fact that he's between them, he could be easily crushed at any moment.
Again, he was there when Genya came out of the rubble, so clearly they got an attachment.
Oh,
we heard that name before. Well, I'm going to ask why you had a little girl under your cape the whole time. So he's alive? Yeah, okay. My dude's doing a hard job of covering for this guy. I thought he was about to say Big Fire.
Yeah. Well, what is this people with big fire power? Apparently, that's a ability that they all have.
I mean, we already know that Genya is actually kind of against Big Fire. Because remember, he was saying about destroying the oil wells, that even Big Fire wouldn't be able to have power. I'm still surprised that Alberto had a daughter.
Okay.
これは一体どうしたことだ。いくら我々のビッグファイヤーとはいえ、まさか孔明の独断ではあるまいか。
I mean, at this point, I'd be wondering where the fuck Big Fire himself is.
どうしたサニー。
ずい気をつけろ。すべては原因の
Well, that's fucking telling, isn't it?
Yeah.
サニー。
So, still alive and trying to warn everyone. Also, that's a pretty shitty superpower. Having telepathy, but only being able to communicate with your dad. That'd be like a joke anime, I can imagine.
Yeah.
ゴー先生じゃあここは本部なんですね。
Remember, he woke up here at the end of last episode.
一星さん無事だったんですか。じゃあ
養子は残念なことをした。
Yeah, they have to repair Giant Robo, right? Oh, they chained him up.
Well, remember, he wasn't supposed to be sent out in the first place. It was Tetsuya's whole thing. I wanted to see you suffer, so I sent it out in the thing that you couldn't win.
ロボ
安心したまえ。一時的な処置だ。その証拠に壊された右手の修復はしてある。ただ気になるのはあの右肩の塊だ。どうやっても解けない上にスキャンも通らない。
ヒマラヤで見た時には雪だとばかり思っていたが。
では BF 弾。
わからん。何かの戦術の可能性は低いと思う。
Oh, yeah, they use magic as a.
Was that where you're going? My thought was, oh, Alberto's in there.
ロボは何で
Yeah.
こんな目に。
Oh, we don't know where the hell Alberto is, and suddenly this?
これはお前と銀霊のためでもあるんだ。
あなたは村雨さん。でもあの時
死んだはずだよってか。ま、いいじゃないか。
でも
大作
I mean, technically, I think you've seen him die twice.
村雨君から聞いたよ。まさかあのエマニュエル君が生きていたと。
ゴー先生
すまない。私も自分の素性を隠していたのだよ。そう。10年前私はね、フォーグラー
Let's say go. We don't need a flashback from you.
先生。
そしてあのバシタールの惨劇の証人の一人。
What I just say go?
They can't help it though.
Well, we've already seen this before. Then we saw the preceding one from Genya's perspective.
その証人でありながら素性を隠すように国際警察機構へ入った。なぜだと思う？
Because you were too much of a bitch to tell everyone that Vogler wasn't guilty?
後ろ指を刺されるのが怖かったのではない。
That's your fault.
世界の夜を
That is your fault.
静まドライブを見ていると、これで
We're worried about prosecution because Vogler did a thing, said Shizuma. You are the evidence against that.
そう思えて、銀霊、いや、ファルメール・フォン・フォーグラーと共にお命を良しとし
Oh, I didn't know she also had a Vaughn in her name.
だが、フォーグラー博士の意志は復讐へと変わっていた。そう。私も何かの間違いだと思っていた。ですが、エマニュエル君の言ったフォーグラー博士のシズマを止めろという意志は、サンプルが証明しているのです。
Except for actually, if we're going over the details that people would know, Go wouldn't actually know that Vogler made the samples. That happened after everyone left.
Yeah, but remember that Genja said.
Yeah, but Genya only told Ginri.
もしサンプルが3本揃ってしまったら。
はい。おそらく地
It's ironic because that looks like the planet Earth from Space Battleship Yamato.
それこそ大階級をやっつけるチャンスは
Sort of the
今しかないじゃないですか。
radioactive meteorite bombardment.
しかしロボは一度
いえ、あの時は僕がバカだったんです。でも今度こそ。
Yep, young, dumb, and full of ideas.
俺はな、フランスで奴の弱点に気づいた。
When you were inside of it.
奴を倒せるのはこの世でただ一人。それが銀霊だ。
話がわかりません。じゃあどうして銀霊さんをこんな。
I'm gonna assume
わからないのか。
there's 3 of them, and there's 3 members of the family.
銀霊が
Yeah.
Bogler, Genya, Ginri. So genetically coded? Also, I guess that would explain whose face we saw in the test one that Go made.
Yeah.
That would be the hint. Sorry. Meanwhile, back at the tower from now and then, here and there.
Yeah.
いや、こうやってあの老人ができていくのを見るとな、どんな未来がお前たちを待っているのだろう。我々科学者はこれからどのような世界をお前たちに残していけるのだろう。ふとそう。
It's like the robots from Felix the Cat.
お父様。
Yeah, please explain the eternal night thing in a non-evil way.
Yeah.
その恐怖から解放された。だが、それと同時に様々な犠牲をも生み出してきた。公害、自然破壊、オゾンホール。いつも何かあって初めて慌て騒ぎ後悔をする。だがそれももう限界だ。もし今度何かあれば、それが取り返しのつかないことならどうする。我々科学者とは一体何者なのだ。進化というベールをかぶった破壊者なのか。
父さん。
わしは願う。科学が常に犠牲を生み出すのなら、その科学でそれを食い止めることはできないだろうか。そうすること
They wanted to stop the knight?
I don't know. That was so on the verge of vagary that I don't know if he's like, we need to stop science before science does something too, like, I...
何の恐れもない夜。それは幻ではない。
See, he described it, and then he had a vision of the tower at night. So I was like, you can't tell if his like ideal changed after the Bastral event, or this is just an extension of the Bastral thoughts about it.
静まを止めろ。ここまで来て何が待てるか。
The net of justice.
I mean, it could be that Shizuma never corrected that all of his drives still have a 2% chance of going crazy.
And this is the correction?
Yeah, shutting them all down. It's not our fault. Our fault, I don't know whose side I'm on. It's not... If the chance is that all the things across the world have a chance of going Bastral, it's not his fault that they installed them in everything. This is like performing a small evil to prevent a greater evil. My read on it anyway, because again, it's so fucking vague in what Bogler actually means that I can't, in the first read, make sense of it. Yeah, they launched it into space. Oh, okay. He didn't introduce himself as related to Alberto, apparently.
Yeah.
Unless she meant that as like an older adult uncle.
Probably an older adult. Whoa. Okay.
Also a power it has, I guess. Oh, big fire centered at the Tower of Babel, apparently. I guess he's the big fire version of Issei. So I'm guessing that Big Fire is about to get his ass handed to it.
Yeah.
By Kume and Ginya. Oh, that's a very familiar looking robot. Yeah, let's do is activate his thing and they're going to be powerless. Unless they're nuclear powered. Nope.
Apparently not.
We figured they made Giant Robo, so they had some nuclear power stuff. We figured Tetsuya was able to power a thing by his own body. Maybe some of them can do it.
Okay, this is funny. They're running very fast, but he's like, yeah, you know, whatever.
It's kind of what I described to you as the first episode of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3.
Yeah.
There's a guy who just moves so fast he can just do other things with his other hands at the same time. Oh, the entire group. Just Kume, who apparently just had the authority to do everything else. What did I just say? I mean, legitimately, we already know from Genya himself it has no benefit to the group. Maybe you should have spent this whole time investigating Genya's backstory, just like Alberto told you. Because then you would know that Kome met Genya.
Uh-oh.
Whoopsie daisy. Is
That
that one
giant
nuclear
Robo
powered, or are we
too?
just outside the field?
The hell is that? The problem when two Okay.
people with very esoteric powers encounter each other for the first time.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for this guy saying that that was a hypnotic thing, I would never have known.
Yeah.
So why did he need the ability to fly when he turned into a bug that flew? Uh-oh, Rodan's here.
Yeah. Like, I guess those are nuclear powered, so.
I don't know, that actually just looks like a creature.
Yeah.
So this guy. Oh, I thought that was the other guy.
Yeah.
The uncle character. I thought that was the uncle character's power was to turn into 10 robots or something. I want to be this guy's villain. If his attack is to return you to a previous life, that's like fighting the Weeping Angels. I'm just going to go back to another time. That's all.
Okay.
I feel like we're fighting a Super Sentai team or something. Oh, Kume's Jaguar. That's not Kume, though, right?
No. No, that's not him.
Kume has those weird little, very short little mustache things off the side
He
of his
also looks
mouth.
way younger than him.
Unless that's the secret of Kume. Well, I don't think he survived. Yeah, like I said, that's just a creature.
Garuda.
Ironically, I think that is the name of a giant monster in the
Yeah, it is.
whatever verse. I can't remember what it's called. Zangetsu is the name of Ichiko's blade in Bleach. Which either means Big Fire is on board, or being tricked. Oh, that's Big Fire. Not what I was expecting. I don't know, there's a lot of illusion shit going on. I wouldn't be surprised if that was not Big Fire. Yeah, go with that thought. It might be real. If that really was Big Fire, why would they kidnap the girl who might get you in contact with answers?
Yeah. But what exactly is the plan other than wiping out humanity? I mean, is that what Big Fire wants? Clearly, the 10 Masters don't want that.
I mean, the 10 Masters might be more of the Earth, and Big Fire might be more big ideals. I don't know. Again, I'm still the idea that that's not Big Fire.
Yeah, I don't think...
Well, yeah, in exchange for you.
Yeah.
I can see this would be an annoying shot to draw.
I mean, yeah. If it's everything is hand drawn, then yeah.
でも銀嶺さんはあの時博士が生きてたことでびっくりして、それでそうです、銀嶺さんは絶対サンプルを渡したりはしなかった。
や私太郎な。じゃあ聞くが、お前はどうなんだ。お前は父親から受け継いだジャイアントロボを使って何をしている。
決まってます。世界を BF 弾から守る。そうしろって父さんから言われて。
そうだ。
No, I think your father told you to look for a way to save everyone without sacrificing
そうだろう。
people or something like that.
人類の場合だって。あの時銀霊が兄貴の玄也と一緒に父親の遺言を守ろうと3本のサンプルを揃えたって何の不思議はないさ。
でも
じゃあもしもだ、お前の父親草間博士が本当は世界征服に賛同しロボを作り上げたとしたら、そしてその意志をお前に託したとしたらどうしていた。
So are we a pro-father message or anti-father message? I can't really tell.
子供だな。考えてもみろ。お前は俺たちに助けられたからそう言えるだけさ。そういえば博士はこんなことを言っていたな。幸せは犠牲なしには得られないのかって。
Yeah, that's the thing I was trying to... That's what he said.
答えは簡単。階層を見ろ。容姿を見ろ。あいつらが犠牲でなくて何なんだ。
I mean, I guess the thing is, though, that they did that of their own free will, and it's already happened. They can't take back what's already happened.
This guy for real though? I think.
Plus
he
the
might
element
be...
that his dad sacrificed for him, so this already started off with a sacrifice. Well, I'm the fucking immortal. I've got no choice in that matter. Again, immortal. You remember when I saved you? I had a grenade in my fucking hand and I blew that shit up? That'd kill me? No. It'd be a hell of a fucking trick if he actually just did die. Not for nothing, I had a mutants mastermind character who's immortal. It's the first fucking thing I did in the campaign. Shot myself in the head in front of somebody. Oh, they turned off the field. Or not, because it doesn't seem like it's the natural state of a Shizuma drive to float in the air.
Yeah.
Apparently not. It's an incredibly powerful anti-field, except for all these Shizuma drives that are fucking blowing up.
Yeah.
I was to say that Murasume probably has the worst power. You know, the get trapped for eternity in an underground or for nothing. This dude is getting ready to be tortured for the rest of his existence. Why do you have a calculation where it would turn up? Oh, that's right. That's fucking episode 1 shit. You did not tell us that in episode 1.
Yeah.
Also, there's naming it after a saint in a destroyed country. It's something.
の発電所の地下こそ我が父フランケン・フォン・フォーグラーが眠る地なのだ。その汚名を着せられた無念とともにな。ご覧ください父上、全てはここで始まり、全てをここで終わらせるのです。
Somebody here is being set up to fail. I think it's Genya ultimately.
I don't know. We don't know Big Fire's purposes. It is, in fact, a Big Fire. The director.
しまった。私はまた肝心な時に判断を誤ってしまったのか。いや、せめて先に中将長官にあちらへ向かってもらったのが救いだ。しかしそれではあまりに犠牲が大きすぎる。まさか長官は。いや、長官は間違いなくお使いになるでしょう。
Let's be as vague as possible so we have something to watch.
誰も抵抗することはできない。その名の通りの能力。
I don't know, to the character from Symphogear who was just super powerful for no reason.
Is he gonna try to punch the whole thing?
I mean, that's, like I said, he might be that kind of character. I remember when that guy had to fight someone, he just blew his shoes out from under him. Just doing normal shit. I was going to say, is he the One Punch Man of this universe?
Yeah.
すべては私の責任だ。何もかも私の判断ミスだった。私が最後までフォーグラー博士を信じたいと願ったばかりに。中将長官まで。
I mean, if you believed in him, you would have told the world the truth.
あのサンプルを壊しておくべきだった。
いえ、先生の責任じゃありません。こんなことが予測できるわけがないじゃないですか。
だがまさか。
Yeah, why didn't they just destroy the third sample? Controlled by... Oh, this guy. I had no idea who that fucker was. I was just saying. He wasn't even at the meeting of the Big Ten. I guess it just shows you that they don't all have to be robots, because that's like a golem.
This guy dance.
I mean, to be fair, get a power like that, why not? I was with a Jujutsu Kaisen guy who just claps, and that's his power. Let's say I just added you to the board, my guy. You don't have to die yet. No, never mind. He's getting a big old red X. I just added you two guys. Don't die. And the other two guys that I added. Can't help but notice that Big Gold is made of rock. I mean, it was relatively one-sided to begin with. These guys ran on water. You guys need to use boats.
Ryong-sung Kwaku is no match for us. That sounds familiar.
Also, that guy kind of reminds me of a guy from Boso Renkin.
Yeah.
Although it had to be more butterfly themed for that to work. Okay, I don't know why Professor Go was under there. Murasame is immortal. He's not going to be hurt by this.
Yeah, but he needed to hold the... I guess he wasn't strong enough to...
Well, then he shouldn't have been down there at all.
By himself.
Again, it's like if me and Superman held the world up, right? We all know Superman's holding the world up. Yeah, it's an elevator shaft. Where'd you think it was going?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in Evangelion...
Yeah.
Well, it just seems like that scene in Evangelion where Adam is chained up underneath the base. Even though I'm incredibly powerful, chain is all that was required to keep me restrained.
Apparently not.
Well, of course not. The heroic theme was starting to play. Unless whatever's on his shoulder is going to be like a mind control for Big Robo. Well, guess not. Yeah, in what world does Daisuke not drown now? The water pouring in. All that water, just nowhere to be seen. Yeah, but you seem to have some like periods of being dead for a bit and then coming back. I don't know, maybe snapping guy you should aim for somewhere instead of like cutting the edges of them. Man, I don't even know that we're actually sacrificing Ginri. I don't know what the fuck is going on with the tube. Ginri actually feels exactly the opposite. Like I said, he has periods of being dead and then comes back. So I don't know what happens if you cut off a limb. In classic movie fashion, he's gonna jump back up in a second. Subversion. It's Ginri that wakes up, not Murasume. I imagine that her thing is projecting a pro-Shizuma drive field? Something to counteract the anti-one?
Yeah.
I like it when she powers up, she gets more clothes.
Yeah.
Implying that she had a second power. Well, this is the argument I was saying. We just assume, because Genya was using it negatively, that's what Vogler meant. What I was saying in my notes before, well, to counter your argument to yours.
I meant punishment. Everything for Big Fire.
Yeah, I mean, that statement would have so much more emphasis if we knew what the fuck Big Fire wanted. Not the group. I mean, well, the group, but also the person.
I mean, we see Big Fire, but then again, it could be a fake. It could be that
that's why I said
strategist.
Illusion is a thing that's all around the place. Issei uses illusions. Seems like whatever his counterpart in Big Fire is uses illusion.
Yeah.
But again, even if it wasn't, assuming it is Big Fire, there's no words there. What? Are we just to say that he's so powerful or in charge that he doesn't need to say anything? Kume acting on his behalf is actually what he wants? And in that case, is he acting on Genya's belief of what it is, or is he acting with super knowledge that he knows what Vogler wanted and he's actually acting for ultimate good? Because it could be that's the subversion. The evil guys are acting on behalf of the good to do what Vogler wanted, because they can't rule the world if there's no world to rule.
I think that's a bit too much.
I don't think it's a bit too much. I don't see any reason why Big Fire would want all the oxygen on Earth to be destroyed, which is the ultimate turn if Genya is successful.
Yeah.
Again, you can't rule the world, because remember, their original plan was, let's take over the oil fields after all the world has lost power. They ultimately have a very earthly sense of what ruling is going to be. So, they don't want the Season 1 space battleship Yamato Earth, where if you look at the images of that Earth and the image of what they showed there, it's basically the same thing, minus all the impact craters.
Yeah.
So yeah, it might be the element that they're on board with helping Vogler's plan along, and Vogler's plan is different than Genya's plan. Because again, we have to assume, based on what Ginri says, having faith in her father means that her father did not plan for this. Maybe Vogler actually did make a perfected Shizuma drive, and that Shizuma's Shizuma drives are actually faulty. And that's what the emphasis has been this whole time, that they're fucked up, and we've got to get rid of them. And that he's created actually a 3-drive thing for infinite power.
Yeah.
But Genya has discovered that, hey, if I use 2 of them, or 3 of them in a specific way, I can create the ultimate explosion. Which is, again, the difference between a nuclear reactor and a nuclear bomb.
True enough.
And next time on.
渦巻く十結集の疑問の中、このまま玄也が作戦を完了させるのか。大階級に立ち向かう中将長官の能力はそれを阻止できるのか。いよいよ
決戦の場をセントアーバーへと名を変えたバシュタールの地に移し、地球の静止をかけた全ての決着のために銀霊が飛ぶ。そして全ての謎が明らかにされる今、ただ一人不敵な笑いで傍観する男がここにいた。
そうだ、これでよい。まさしく役者が揃うのだ。そう、何もかも私の思うがままだ。
I was
Okay.
sort of laughing there because when they zoomed in on Kume, you
Yeah.
remember G Gundam, right? The announcer from the opening of our episode, who never appears in any
Yeah.
episode, by the way. You know, Gundam fight ready, set, go. That's literally the zoom in that they were giving him. I was like, if he does some crazy thing where he pulls the fan away and he's like down to his regular outfit or something, like,
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, so that's where G Gundam got it. Actually, I don't know. G Gundam was mid 90s.
93.
This is probably, this being like the next to last episode, and this probably would be coming around the same time. It's funny. It was a funny bit in the middle of all mysteries will be unveiled, and it's like, yeah, well, we're still confused about certain things, so maybe.
I don't know. I mean, this definitely requires a rewatch because there's a lot of things that are going on that I have no idea. I thought you were going to have more answers, and apparently, no. We got more mysteries. Like back to the mystery box scenario, right?
Well, I know there is a bunch of unanswered questions, but I think we're on the straight and narrow of figuring out where things are going. I mean, unless I'm wrong about everything, which I could be, but
No.
I think what I've been saying is correct, because obviously, why would I say it otherwise?
So yeah. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna have to see what happens when I get a rewatch and see if I can figure out what's going on. Because I'm like, huh? Okay, this is cool action, but exactly what is Big Fire's? Who really is Big Fire, and what do they want, and what did Vogler want for real? And everything is a bit too vague. I guess we'll have the last episode will be like an hour or so, to make sure that we get to see what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Obviously, one would hope that the last episode would tie everything together. At the same time, I'm very aware that there are shows that I'm currently watching. Well, I just got done with Yatagarasu, which I finished the 20th episode, which is where that show ends, and
yeah, it just ends. Yeah.
Well, it's not that it just ends. It ends on a note of, hey, we're not going to wrap up the thing about the threat to the entire country. We're not going to deal with the element of what's the political situation going on, or something that was very important for the first 14 episodes. We're going to end on this one very specific character relationship and what that means for this one specific character. Well, I guess both of the characters, really.
Yeah.
My understanding is that there's more of that source material that just didn't get animated and is open for more stuff, but it's not very popular anime, so apparently. But the idea is that that's where it ended, right? There's another. I was going to say there's another show, and I can't remember which one. But the idea is that I've heard, and the thing is, I can't remember what show I'm thinking about. Probably to the benefit of me watching the show, that it doesn't wrap up all of its mystery. Oh, sorry. They say that the Jujutsu Kaisen manga ends, leaving a bunch of hanging threads. It doesn't answer anything. But apparently, they also say that the spin-off, there's another Jujutsu Kaisen manga that is after Jujutsu Kaisen, that it starts off with all those hanging threads. So,
yeah, so leave it for the next.
Yeah, so people were saying that Jujutsu Kaisen manga doesn't end on a satisfactory note. Would then have to watch or read the next thing. Which, to be fair enough, that's fine. The element that you would have to end one and be like completely, or not completely unsatisfied, I have no idea. But you would be left still wondering these thoughts. And then hear that they're making something else. And the fact that if you were left with that, then you would then continue, like, oh, good, thank God, they're starting with this X thing, right? I have no idea how Naruto ends, because I couldn't stand the character of Naruto by the end of the show Naruto. But assumedly, if there was still stuff in Naruto that went unanswered, you would then watch Boruto and be like, oh, okay, this is fine. Nothing I've heard anyone ever say about Boruto, but I'm just using it as an example.
So popular. Not as popular as the original, but...
Is it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I only hear people making fun of Boruto.
But yeah, like I said earlier, I wish I had opinions, but I'm still like processing. So I guess I'll have to wait to another rewatch and my notes to go like, I think I know what's going on here.
Well, I think my thing again is I gave all my thoughts in the moment, and I don't think any of them has changed here in the end. Obviously, I might have more things to think about or more things to say about it when we do rewatch. But as per my very first note before we started watching the episode, the irony thing is that I'm going to have to go back and rewatch episode 5's commentary track before I rewatch this episode for notes. So it's going to be funny that I'm going to be backtracking before I do anything else.
True.
Not that that's going to give me a lot of context, because I'm going to just be listening to whoever is giving commentary about stuff. I hope it's the people from episode 2. It was the Japanese voice actors for Ginri and Daisoku. I think it was who that was.
Basically. Yeah.
Well, the second commentary track was the animation people. So, and again, they didn't really have much to say other than the fact that they commented on the very same stuff that I made jokes about, or not make observations. You know, like when the ball is flowing over New York and the Twin Towers are there, and they're like, "Oh boy," that's like literally the same thing I said. Or, you know, a big part of their conversation was about Star Wars, which literally is shit that we talk about. So, the animation team on the same board as us.
Well then, there you have it.
All right, well, if that's all we have to say until, again, the note section in the final episode, then once again, I have been Theta, this has been Lessons, we've been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?